Okay, it's opening night of Romford Film Festival 2025. I'm delighted to be joined here by the filmmakers behind Fortune Cookies, which we've just had playing at the festival. Would you like to just introduce yourself and your role within the production?
Hello, yes, I'm Brenda, writer and director.
I'm Paul, producer.
I'm also Paul. I was in the play playing Tony Chung, the bad guy.
I'm Suhan and I played Cyril in the film.
Fantastic, thank you all for joining us. When I saw this as part of the selection committee, as soon as I saw it, I sent Spencer, the director of the festival, a message and said, we need this needs to be an opening night film. Because it's so enjoyable, so crowd pleasing, so it's just a nice film.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that can sound a bit kitsch, but genuinely a really fun film.
Good.
And there's not enough films like that sometimes.
Yeah. I think I just wanted to make something that was fun and something that had a heart more than anything. I just want people to connect to it. And it's silly and it's, a heart. But yeah, I just wanted people to come in, have a laugh, have a smile, have a think about a Chinese takeaway maybe, and then just leave and, I had a nice night.
Yeah.
Without being tongue in cheek either, it's earnest, isn't it? It was very kind of feel good and without being tongue in cheek.
No, I agree. I'm quite a cynical person sometimes when it comes to film, but this one just won me round completely.
That's
so
very
congratulations.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind.
Where did the idea first come from?
It came. Well, my parents had a takeaway when I was young, in the north of England, and it was run by them too, and the kids helped out a lot.
Okay.
So there was 4 of us running around the shop doing all our stuff.
Right.
I think I was about 10. I don't know. I was very young, and we just used to pretend we'd have the TV in the shop at the front, and then sometimes we would play that we were all on Family Fortunes together. Okay. And I thought, that amused me. So I thought I'm just going to write it down and just see what happens. And so it was essentially slightly based on my life. I would say, not all of it.
And
That's
Paul, how did you get involved producing the film?
Well, we haven't got enough time, I think. My business partner Becky had been working with Brenda for
a long time.
For a while, and Becky and I we were putting together a slate of films, and we were looking at which films we were going to put on there. And Becky talked to me about Fortune Cookies, and said, "Well, it's great, and it's funny, and it's there aren't that demographic isn't represented very well at the moment in either on film or on TV, and then there's been a few things come along since. Yeah,
not a lot though, but
and we decided, well, let's see if we can get this. It'd been you've been trying to get it
off the ground for a long
made
time.
for a while. And we thought, well, let's see if we can do it.
Yeah.
How do you go about funding an independent film like this? I'm sure that's probably, the story of that is probably quite a wild one.
Yeah, well, so Becky and I set up Screen North Hands, which is a production company. We've set it up to, Becky's no longer with the company, but we set it up amicably. We didn't,
didn't kill each other.
We're very happy. She's doing, her own. We wanted to make films and try and do some social good. So we got a pot of money from BBC Children in Need to work with 210 disadvantaged young people over 3 years. And initially we planned to make a number of short films with those young people, but we thought, well, why don't we pool the money and make it's madness, but why don't we make a feature film per year? It was only 105,000 we got from BBC Children in Need, and we just pulled in lots of resources, lots of favours, lots of friends and family, and as you do with independent filmmaking, and we were able to get it over the line.
So did you make it in Northampton?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
How was that then? Because that's not, no disrespect to Northampton, but it's not a hotbed of film location from what I know, is it? It's not.
Well, Paul's company's changing all that,
yeah.
though, clearly.
So why Northampton, and why, what kind of challenges did you face?
Becky's from Northampton,
Right.
and my wife is from Northamptonshire.
Mhm.
So we were there, and we could see the lack of opportunities and the lack of projects being made there, and we thought we could make a difference to the landscape.
Yeah. Okay. Let's bring in the cast members then. Obviously this film isn't the success it is without the cast and the family being
Absolutely, yeah.
so believable and so tight, and that really comes across in the film. How did you create that kind of interaction between the family and the cast on set?
Okay, well, I'll hand it to Stu to talk about the family interaction, but as a member of the British Chinese acting community, we all know each other, kind of thing anyway. So even though there were scenes that I wasn't in, I know those actors and I've known them for 30 years. Right. So Brett, we kind of knew, I think I'm speaking on behalf of all of us, that Brenda had been having this had this script in development, and it had gone through quite a number of iterations before it got to this stage. And many people, I don't know, have played Tony Chung, and I was the one who was available to play it just before the pandemic, which is when we filmed it. But as far as but the younger ones, so there's always new Chinese actors coming along, and I didn't know the younger family members, but I do want to just say that I think Paul and Brenda have understated exactly how important this film is, just as a piece of as a milepost, because the British Chinese community, we've been fighting ever since I've been an actor from the mid-80s to try and get some representation, and there simply has not been to date a sitcom. We haven't had anything really, and so for this to have actually had the development that Paul put behind it, even though of course it was low budget, it is a significant thing to have a comedy film set with British, Chinese, East Asian actors, and I think that don't undersell that. I think that's a very important thing. So congratulations for that. And it is only subsequently to this being filmed, the pandemic, that East Asian actors have had more of a, I would say, a slightly better representation on television, and so this was quite groundbreaking. So congratulations to you both.
Thank you.
Awesome. About the sort of chemistry that we have with it was Paul was I've known Paul for like ages, it seems like we just that's what I mean, the back catalogue just goes way back, I'm actually only 15. I still remember I went along to audition for it. It has obviously because the community is so small, I'd heard of it before, and then it was obviously going ahead, and then I sort of jest, but the age thing. But I was like, I'm going up for Dad. What? I thought I was still only 25, but it was a really great script. But as soon as I read it, and I really loved it, and I could almost kind of visualize it in my head, But and also just as an actor, a bit kind of just touching upon what Paul's saying, I've done theatre before, where I've got more of a run, but for TV I'd sort of come in and out. I'd sort of jumped in as a day player, and when you do that, you kind of can't really get a grasp of because you're just kind of there. You're just there to fill that sort of section of the TV part or the film part. And this one had a real arc of going through, because you can see Cyril's all the stuff that he's going through in the film, and I met all the other guys, and it just really was great that we all liked each other, basically, and that's what made the chemistry.
You're kind of like a family office.
Yeah. We all went and ate, which is what went. You just literally all went and ate, and we all we had to sort of travel back between London and Northampton, so we all sort of had journeys in together and stuff like that. And we knew it was we knew it was low, but we were also, I think we were just also invested. We all just all knew how great a story it was. Where all you could tell. I mean, I've been doing it for a while, and I could just tell the investment in it and the investment in the story, and also what it meant to us as well. You know, really, really meant something.
I think that's what carries the heart.
Yeah.
We all believe it, especially like for Screen Northants to take a chance on this an East Asian film, as you say, and go for it and say, "Shall we make it?" And I'm like, "Of course you should. Let's just go for it and see what happens."
Yeah, totally.
You know, it took a lot of belief, and I think everybody kind of
bought into it. They really did.
Yeah.
And also just like, I mean, I'm exactly the same as Brenda. I grew up in the takeaway as well, and I just got it. You know, just like I know these smells. I know this like this apron. Do you know? Like I just know it. Do you know what I mean?
Which game show?
And I grew up as a jilted, you know, frustrated, bitter man. So that suited me very well as well.
Didn't we all? Was there any audience questions at this point? We haven't got a roving mic, but if you wouldn't mind, put your hand up and shout. Anyone? Come on, don't be shy. Yep.
No, not you, Flora. Go on. Bracing myself.
Just
go on then.
That's what we North Americans are for. Embarrass ourselves. I was interested in the setting of the takeaway, because that could be perceived as a stereotype, and you've chosen to, you know, go there and make that the heart of the film. What was your kind of?
Oh, I think it was mainly because it is a lot of people's lives, my life, Sui's life, and it's not the intention to make it a stereotype. It was just the intention to make it true to me and give it heart from what I experienced, and try and add a bit of humour and whatever into it. But it could, I would have set it wherever, but it just happened to be my life growing up and what I felt, to make it authentic in a kind of off the cuff kind of way. So so the takeaway was just part of my journey, I suppose. Yeah.
Anyone else? No, maybe in a minute. What was your greatest challenge each making the film? Do you want to start, Brenda?
Greatest challenge. I think the easy. I'll start with I think the easiest thing was letting the actors just get on with it and just do it, because I just trusted them, and they were, you know, they were amazing. It was with a low budget. I mean, it was my first feature, so I'm obviously grateful to Paul and to Becky for going. You've never done it before, but off you go and just do it. Was time.
Right.
Was just running out of time, and it's like the lights go and the money's going. It's like, you know, you just have to just keep going and keep being motivated and keep knowing, you know, we will get there. And you know, you find every day you'd have the stress of thinking, oh, we've got to when we were filming the supermarket, it was all going well, and they were like, oh, they're closing half an hour early, and I'm like, what the. Right. You know, so it's like, no, we've got to go. So stuff like that, and you just got to trust the actors. And I'm like, I called it like shotgun shooting. I'm so sorry that you have to do shotgun shooting, but they're like, oh no, it's fine, we're used to it. So I think the main thing for me was time. But I think that would be. I spoke to a friend of mine who directed a very big budget film, and she said for her that it's the same thing, was the pressure from the money and the time. So I think that's, as I'm learning, it's filmmaking as an art, you know. So that would be my.
How long was the shoot?
5 weeks.
Yeah.
5 weeks.
5 days a week for 5 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your greatest challenge for?
Me.
It's managing it. It's time, it's money, and we had 70 disadvantaged young people working on this project as well. So it's about how we make sure that they're getting a good experience and a valuable experience, and they are not affecting how production works. Right. It's about the amount of favours and stretching of resources and doing things that you just wouldn't normally do on a professional film set. I mean, the house, the living room area was in a spare room in a school, and we were given the keys and the freedom.
Yeah, the living room was.
And it was flats, and it was lights outside, but, you know, reclaimed windows that someone would drive and pick up. and doors that we got that were being thrown away, and
I thought it was a genuine house.
the ceiling is a very thin fabric material. So it's about, you know, believing that you're going to get there, even though you've got nothing. You go, like, okay, we can work this. And I think you had some concerns with that particular room, but I don't think you noticed.
No, I think the living room looks amazing.
I think that's one of the most fun things about filmmaking is when you have nothing or very little and you work out how you can make something.
Yeah, you guys did an amazing job. Because I forget, I'm watching the monitor, I forget all the stuff that's going on behind and doing all the craziness and you painting and sawing wood for bits and bobs. Yeah, it was a bit mental.
You mentioned the disadvantaged people. What were they working on then? What roles were they in?
I mean, every part of it, from pre-production,
right.
You know, all throughout. You know, there wasn't 70 young people working in each department. They were distributed amongst lots of different departments, and we rotate them, and they get, you know, we try to give them valuable experience, including, you know, post-production. Everything that we can possibly say. Here you go.
Sounds like a great initiative.
Yeah.
I think so.
Paul, what was your greatest challenge?
Well, for me personally, because I was literally only in, they were working for 7 weeks, I was literally only in for 5 days.
Okay.
I felt under enormous, because I know everybody,
right.
You know, I knew all my fellow actors. I just felt under enormous pressure to come in and have all that dialogue, you know. And so personally, I was like, I don't want to. I want to make sure I'm word perfect. I just want to make sure I'm. So yeah, I think I put myself under more pressure than I normally would have done, and that's literally because of just the way, you know, the business works. I knew everybody, but I felt slightly out of it because they were in every day and I was just coming in once a week, let's say. I think it was on average once a week, but I think once I came in twice in 1 week, and I stayed in the famous Travelodge in Northampton that every actor seems to have done. But yeah, no, so for my greatest challenge was to overcome my own paranoia about letting everyone down.
Right.
Biggest challenge is the scene where I had to do kick the football in the goal. I really wanted to do like a back heel onto my foot, like knee it up, like volley it, like spin round and really like volley it into the goal. And I just couldn't do it. And I used to play football, and I was like, what's going on? I'm like literally like losing my touch, man, seriously. And I was really like, and I think I was trying to sort of like, oh, just get another shot. And then Brenda maybe saw it, and she was just like, just keep it simple, yeah. And I was just like, well, no, I can do it. And she said, no, just kick it up, and then just like do one kick to the goal. And I was like, no, but I can volley it. I can like, no, just do it.
Put that in the director's cut.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. And actually, just touching upon, because just like I say that, and because there was times where I was, obviously because it's the UK and there's like really wet conditions and long shoots and stuff like that, and but just soldiering on, man, because it was just such a great project to be part of. My shoes were very wet as well, so they're very slippery. They were very slippery.
Well, what Suey didn't realise was we had battery packs for the lights that day, and we were running out of power for the battery packs, and because we were running on, we had to source a generator. I think it was a Sunday. Late on, you were unaware of this as you were doing your fancy football skills. That was
trying. Honestly, I did used to be good, I'm telling you. I swear.
I believe you.
Give me another shot. Fortune cookies too. Fortune cookies too. I will have
just you
football boots and like everything to do it. Dry grass,
the scout comes and
like
sees
everything. The first Chinese Lionel Messi. Yes.
Final question, what were you all working on next? Brenda, do you want to start?
I'm working on at the moment East Asian sitcom with Paul and soon to be Suey about a Chinese family, Sal, you know, who run a. No, sounds like I'm not really not a one-trick pony. I really do have other ideas, but they run they did have a very successful restaurant, but they kind of lost it all, and now they have to live on the tax haven of the Isle of Man and run a shit pub.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's kind of like Schitt's Creek
Wait
meets
for that.
Kim's Convenience. If you
Very
will.
exciting, very exciting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Next week I'm going to see what we hope is the sign-off screening of our feature film Macbeth, which we are really hoping we're going to be premiering that at the BFI in November, so there's discussion at the moment about that, and the next feature film that's going into development is a folk horror with a director called Jack James, who's shot two very, very interesting first feature films, won quite a few awards, and this one is kind of an evolution of what he does. It's really interesting.
Nice. You know we have a horror festival here in Romford, don't we?
I have heard.
Good. I'd like to see that myself. I love a bit of folk horror. How about you, Paul?
I have a life as a Chinese Elvis, and on the 16th of August, which is Elvis Day, I present a show which is called Chinese Elvis Presents the Diverse Elvis Spectrum, where I present other ethnic Elvises, and this year I am presenting a Bangladeshi Elvis, a black Elvis, and a drag queen Elvis.
Oh,
so I've got that coming up, but I'm also doing that thing with Brenda.
I should be doing that.
I want to see that character in the sitcom.
Yeah.
I'm just doing just doing majority, doing the role of an actor basically. But I do write as well. I had shortly after Fortune Cookies, Brenda directed a short that I wrote basically, which I'm really proud of. Just got collaboration. This is what's so good about these types of projects. Just the sort of like relationships you make is really gold dust sometimes. And that's gone to some festivals. And it was like a sequel to like my first short. And yeah, I mean, just watch this space. There might be more to come. So fingers crossed. And yeah, definitely, there's got to be more to come from this as well.
Yeah,
it's got to go a bigger audience for sure.
Yeah. Is there plans to do other? Have you finished the festival run, or where is it kind of?
Looking for distribution is the next thing.
Okay.
Over to you, Paul.
We're working on that.
Right.
I've got a quick question.
Oh yeah, go on, please.
Yeah. I was thinking a lot about what you said about representation, and I wanted to ask a question around what would you say to young Chinese people who are coming into the industry from some of the learning that you've got from this experience?
Who's that to? Is that to me, Emma?
To you, or directing and producing.
I'd say it's not easy at all, but it sounds a bit cheesy and a bit trite, but I do fully believe in it. But believe in your own stories. Everyone has their own story, and just keep going. You will get knocked back. You'll get knocked back a lot. Look at, we made Fortune Cookies, which, as Paul has said, is the only East Asian film the British East Asian film I've seen since, whenever, and that's a depressing, yet in a way not depressing way. So it's hard because you could get very cynical about it, and you can get very, well, what's the point, because it's never going to get shown. But if you want to create stories, just keep creating stories. If it's in you, then it's in you. So that would be my, yeah.
Me?
Was it too Paul?
You can answer if you want. Got an answer.
Like I say, like I say to everybody, just work really hard, get really good. There's too many people who kind of, they want to be something but they don't want to put the work in. I don't know much about the East Asian kind of experience, but for me it's always just just work hard and do lots and lots of stuff. The fact that you're doing short films as well as the work that you're doing and trying to get something off the ground. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, I think I just echo what, I mean, from the sort of, just the representational aspect, it's, I mean, it's drags its, I mean, we're still like in this day and age really kind of like, kind of trying to have this kind of like, representational aspect, and we're still obviously talking about it and stuff, and it's great when I see things, and I just feel, just in terms of like, just young people that are wanting to get in, young East Asian people, is I just think that everyone's individual. You have a story, and very much with Brenda, just everyone's got a story. I mean, I think just purely for that, that's why. I mean, I started acting, just wanted to be an actor, and then I just somehow wanted to write because I just didn't feel that my representational aspect was being sort of out, was out there, So I felt that I just wanted to kind of like put my voice, into just put it out there, because I think we need to, and that's how just society just becomes more inclusive and everything like that. So yeah, just really, if you're going to be an actor, act, but I think if you've got there's no reason why you can't write, why you can't direct, produce, and there's just so many options these days because of just social, just the social aspect of it, and online aspect, which is good and bad. I mean, that's another conversation, but so yeah, just really just kind of believe in yourself, I suppose.
Well, if I had to advise a young British Chinese actor, my advice would literally be just do anything, just do everything you can, and you don't. And I would say do as many parts as you just basically do whatever you can, be in Shakespeare, just get as much experience as you can, and it's easier for you, I'd say, than it was for us, because now with Gok Wan now being known, people know that Chinese people can speak with an English accent. Before that, if you looked at TV, it was like, it was an imponderable. I can't believe that there's Chinese guys on telly and he's, and he doesn't have an English accent. And so we'd have to, people who speak like me and Sui with his Scottish brogue, we'd have to invent a Chinese accent that which was a false one. And so that's another thing I'd advise them to do. Practice your Chinese accent, because you will have to use it one of these days. But I think I think it is easier for, well, it's not easier, but it's there's more opportunities for them now to actually make a career than there might have been for people like us starting in the 80s, who only had David Yip and Bert Kwok to look up to, and Bert made his entire career arguably with that voice, playing a Japanese guy, but he was Chinese, so everybody thought that Chinese people talk like this. It's like, that's just Bert talking. And suddenly that became the accent that we as young Chinese actors had to imitate to do radio plays. And it was like, this isn't how Chinese people talk, that's how Bert Kwok talks. But so they don't have any of that to worry about. So I'd say, go for it.
Thank you for the question. We're going to have to wrap it there. But thank you so much for coming to represent this film. Thank you for making it. As I say, genuinely, I loved it.
Well, thank you for putting it on.
You're
very,
welcome.
very grateful.
You're very welcome.
So thank you.
Can I have a round of applause, please, for our filmmakers?